Hi, this is Lauren, and welcome to Insight Inspiration, where it's my goal to inspire one person at a time. I've come to increase your faith on today with the story of the woman with the issue of blood. There are three accounts of this story in the Bible. There's Matthew's version, which is found in chapter 9, verses 20 through 22. And then there's Mark's version, found in chapter 5, verse 25 through 34. And lastly, there's Luke's version found in chapter 8, verse 43 through 48. But for this reading or teaching on today, I'm going to go with Mark's version, which is found in chapter 5, verse 25 through 34. And it says, "And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. When she heard of Jesus, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, If I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press and said, Who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, Thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague. Here Jesus was on his way to Jairus' house, one of the rulers of the synagogue whose daughter was dying. Multitudes was following Jesus for a healing. They had heard about his healing throughout the land and had been going to and fro and healing people. And this woman who had been to several physicians had spent all she had and had been bleeding for 12 years, but wasn't getting better, but getting worse, according to verse 26. She said to herself, If I can just touch his clothes, I'll be made whole. Not only did she think, she put action with her faith and pressed her way past the obstacles to touch his clothes. In each account of these stories from Matthew, Mark, and Luke's version, they all have one thing in common, and that is Jesus declaring, Thy faith has made thee whole. This woman believed that Jesus could heal her. Not only did she believe it, but she pressed her way through the crowd to get what she needed. She went all in without fear or doubt for her healing. I hear you asking, Lauren, how can I touch the hem of his garment? You can touch him with prayer, praise, and worship right now. Press past the people in your life that may be causing doubt and have become the crowd that is keeping you from getting into his presence for your healing. Lastly, you must have faith that once you press your way into his presence, you shall be healed. According to Psalms 107, verse 20, Jesus bore our sickness and carried our pain. Therefore, we give no place to sickness or pain, for God sent his word and healed us. He healed us from COVID-19 and high cholesterol and high blood pressure, diabetes and glaucoma, iron deficiencies, blood clots and cancer, plantar fasciitis and arthritis and heart disease and sleep apnea and dementia and aneurysms and acid reflux and migraines and depression and bipolar disease and schizophrenia and broken bones and asthma and anxiety and fibromyalgia and fibroids and hernias and lupus and viruses and aches and pains and blockages and congestive heart failure and organ failure and eating disorders and osteopenia and osteoporosis and kidney disease and all others that I have not even begun to name. Be just like the woman with the issue of blood. Number one, she went to see physicians, but when they hadn't had the answer for her, she sought out the physician above all physicians. I encourage you to seek out God. But God has given us wisdom, so we need to go to the doctor. Allow me to add balance to this lesson. We do need to go to the doctor because God has given them a degree, a small degree of information. However, God is the doctor above all doctors. And number two, she didn't allow her circumstance of being broke because she had spent all she had or being surrounded by a multitude of people. She didn't allow those things to keep her from pressing into the presence of God for her healing. She knew what she needed, so she went after it. I encourage you to be vigilant and diligent about going after what you need from God. And number three, but all of her actions rest on the fact that she had faith that God could and would heal her. God says all we need is faith the size of a mustard seed. Now, let me put this in perspective. A mustard seed is about the size of those little rubber stoppers that you find at the end of a new ink pen that has to be removed before you can write with it. That's just how small your faith has to be in order for God to heal you. I hope this word has encouraged you to try prayer, praise, and worship to touch the hem of his garment for your healing. Thank you for joining me during this time of insight inspiration. If you enjoyed this particular message, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded.